Good morning, everyone. It's Pierre with Overview Property Inspection. I want to do a tutorial for you guys on what I do for maintenance on my home. And this will be regarding sump pumps. Spring thaws upon us, and this is what we're going to want to look at. Okay. So for simplicity, you'll notice I'll do some brief explanations as to what we do and what we're going to want to test. So this is a sump pump. For those of you that aren't familiar with sump pumps, essentially this is a device that will manage the groundwater around the property. Okay, so this is an inlet pipe. There'll be a weeping tower on the property, which will be perforated and collect the water, and it will come into the sump basin. This sump basin is protected by a pump. You'll notice that. And this pump will turn on as the water levels rise in this basin. Okay, so there's a float right here. And this float, as the water level rises, it'll engage the pump. I don't have it plugged in right now, but in essence, it's to help protect the house. When I do my maintenance, I've got a few criteria. I always want to make sure that I shot back all the debris along the bottom. This debris can actually wear out the impellers inside the pump. I always encourage clients to have 2 pumps if practical. The best approach will always be to have a battery backup system. Now, I don't have a battery system on my house, but what I do have is I have this little device that I got from Home Depot, and what it does is it will beep if the water levels ever gets higher than the float. Okay, so as the float rises, the sensor will detect that the water levels are too high, and I will get an email and also text notification to my phone. Okay, this is kind of a fail-safe. However, under extreme weather patterns, the water can actually come inside the basin at a high rate. So if I'm not around and I get that text message and I'm not able to service it, well, it could be disastrous naturally. Okay, but just a cheaper solution. I think these are about $50 or $75. So a couple things you want to be mindful about for radon protection. My house is from 2000, and so I've got a weather stripping. What I do is I put a 3/8 weather stripping around the entire perimeter to ensure that it's airtight. I've got a double gasket here because initially what they had done is they had notched this out and it was just allowing airflow to come up. Okay, the ground does have a residual smell naturally. As you can imagine, there's a perforated pipe around the property. This will bring not sewer smells. You'll bring ground smells and also radon. If you're not familiar with radon, do a Google search on radon. But in essence, you want to make sure that the lid is as airtight as you can possibly have. And so this lid will sit on here. Okay, and then the gasket will seal the lid to the basin. And then what I do is I've got intermittent screws. So currently I'm just doing this upgrade, and I only had originally 4 screws. So what I plan on doing is I'm going to have 1 in each corner and then maybe 2 midpoint, just as a precautionary measure. And because my sump basin lid is a little bit warped, it'll help ensure proper seal. A lot of times too, when I go to new builds, you don't have a proper gasket around the wires. Okay, by having this airtight gasket, again, it's going to minimize the potential for the smells from the earth and also radon. Now, this isn't 100% airtight because I do have this double wire. I'm not 100% done. You're never going to get 100% air sealed unless you're like taping everything. But this is just a tutorial for you guys to be mindful to what to anticipate for maintenance. And then what I want to emphasize as well is that float. Okay, you want to make sure that the wires coming for the pump, okay, this is actually a dual wire system. And so there's one wire that will feed the actual pump, and then this one is actually going to the float. Okay, you want to make sure that you lift that float, it turns the pump on, because the pump could be faulty or the float can actually start to stick over time. Okay, another thing to be mindful is keep these wires nicely tucked out of the float's operation. If you've got a whole bunch of wires, so you'll see that I've actually coiled them out of the way and I've just zip tied them to the pipe. If you've got a whole bunch of wires here, as the float comes up, it could impede the operation of that float if you've got all these wires that are just dangling at the bottom. So try to have them as neatly secured as possible. A couple zip ties will do the trick. Okay. And that's what you can anticipate when you have a sump pump, some maintenance for you guys to do. And again, test that sump pump before that spring thaw. If you have any questions, reach out to Overview Property Inspection. Look forward to more videos for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.